Most people think the only way to rack up airline miles is by flying a ton or swiping one of their co-branded airline cards. But that's just scratching the surface. And honestly, if that's your only strategy, you're leaving a ton of miles, status points, and free trips on the table. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. With American Airlines, it doesn't take a bunch of flights to earn status. Heck, I'll even show you real proof that you can get gold status or higher without even stepping foot on a plane. And you may ask, why would I want status if I'm not flying? Well, maybe you have trips planned later in the year. Maybe you're taking a trip abroad and you want to leverage OneWorld status. Maybe you're taking on a new job and you're going to be traveling more often. Or maybe you have a growing family, and that means more checked bags and possibly more of a need for a preferred seat selection. Now, there's a lot more to status than just getting on a plane first. So in this series, which contains 2 parts, I'm going to show you exactly how I've earned over 117,000 loyalty points, which is almost Platinum Pro status, and 250,000 American Airlines miles, with less than a third of that coming from paid flights. So I'm not just living on airplanes and selling you a bill of goods. And doing all of this by September 1st, which is only the halfway point of the American Airlines status season, as the qualifying status season for American Airlines starts on March 1st and ends on February 28th or 29th the following year. So in part 1, I'll break this down by the following categories. And this will include a quick overview of the American Airlines status program, the benefits of American Airlines and OneWorld status abroad, the co-branded credit cards and the perks that come with it, Admirals Club and Flagship airport lounge access. And in part 2, I'll give an overview and specific strategies on the American Airlines e-shopping portal, AA hotels and rental cars, point stacking, the Hyatt partnership, and the full breakdown of my account. So make sure you check out both parts so that you can see some areas where you may want to point stack, what you may want to avoid, and overall, what's possible. And if you get any value here and you like the way I think about all this, make sure you come along for the ride, as this is totally free content that may help you earn and save thousands. So over the past decade, I've held at least gold status, really without even trying. And yes, I do fly a good bit, and that's how I used to earn status. But times have changed. I feel like the more I was flying, the lower my status was getting. And part of the reason for this, these airline loyalty programs used to be pretty simple. The more you would fly, the more status you would get. And in theory, that's still possible, but I'll show you how you can beat the system and fast track your way to status. But it takes a bit of understanding of the American Airlines loyalty program. And I'll spare you the details about the US Airways merger years ago and focus on the present. So first, there's American Airlines miles, and then there's American Airlines loyalty points. The miles are the currency. This is actually what you would use to redeem for future flights, whereas the loyalty points are only for tracking your status. As you earn eligible miles, you also earn loyalty points towards status and milestone rewards. Now there's 4 advertised levels of status: Gold, which takes 40,000 loyalty points, Platinum, which takes 75,000 loyalty points, Platinum Pro takes 125,000 loyalty points, and Executive Platinum that takes 200,000 loyalty points. And make sure you hang with me, as I'll show you how to get status even faster for less money. So American also smartly introduced some loyalty point reward levels, and this is in between status levels to keep you engaged and wanting to keep earning more points. Now these start at the 15,000 loyalty point level, and then you can choose from a handful of rewards. And this starts with things like additional loyalty points, priority privileges and group 4 boarding for a trip, or preferred seat coupons. Things that will at least give you a taste of what status can be like. Now these definitely progress as your status progresses, including car rental status from Avis, loyalty point bonuses when you spend through the AA ecosystem, even different levels of Hyatt hotel status, trip credits, bigger amounts of bonus miles, and so on. Now the whole goal is to keep you engaged, which is very smart on American's part. So you can pause the screen here if needed to check these out in a bit more detail, but once you hit each level of status, there's a few perks that you'll unlock, and you do receive better boarding priority, starting with Group 4 at Gold, moving up to Group 1 at Executive Platinum, which Group 1 boards just after Concierge Key and first class passengers, and really anything from Groups 1 to 5, you'll have no sweat at bringing bags on the plane. Now, regardless of which credit card you use, an American Airlines card or just about any other credit card, you'll earn 5 base miles per dollar on your paid American Airlines flights, and this excludes the basic economy fare. So if the ticket costs $300, that's 1,500 base miles and loyalty points earned. But But based on your status, you get a mileage and a loyalty point boost on your paid flights. And this is 40% more at Gold, 60% more for Platinum, 80% more for Platinum Pro, and 120% more for Executive Platinum. So this does really start to add up as your status improves. Now, for context, with Platinum status, $5,000 in paid flights would earn you 40,000 miles and loyalty points. Okay, moving on with some additional status perks. So along with priority boarding, you get free check bags, and the amount of bags changes with just about each level of status. But just know by the time you hit Executive Platinum, you can take your entire wardrobe for free. In all seriousness, the free check bags has saved us hundreds of dollars every single year. And a somewhat hidden benefit to American Airlines status is the status you gain with the OneWorld Alliance. Now, definitely make sure you check out this site to understand everything you get access to within OneWorld, whether you have American or Alaska Atmos status or any other OneWorld partner status. Your specific level of status will match to a OneWorld tier. So once you hit Gold status from American, you also get Ruby status from OneWorld. And Ruby really doesn't get you much, but you'll get preferred seating and priority check-in when you're flying on any OneWorld partner. So if you're at a busy airport like London Heathrow, you can often save 30 to 60 minutes and sometimes more by having access to that priority check-in. But once you hit Platinum from American, this really starts to unlock the OneWorld perks, as you'll now get OneWorld Sapphire. And you'll notice at the priority check-in area and within the OneWorld airport lounges, there's a little blue or a green or sapphire or emerald, technically, oval next to where it says priority or lounge or the OneWorld logo. And these are showing you that it takes that tier of OneWorld in order to use that line or that lounge. So this Sapphire tier, you'll get access to priority boarding and business class lounge access even when you're flying on economy. And to me, this is a really awesome perk if you're bouncing around within Europe and the priority pass lounge or that Amex Centurion lounge just isn't convenient or has a super long line. Like when we were traveling from Amsterdam to London Heathrow, having access to the OneWorld lounge between the D and E gates at the Amsterdam airport, which was a super nice lounge, by the way, and far less crowded than the priority pass lounge, great food and drink options with really good views of the planes. It really added to our overall experience. And once you hit Platinum Pro status with American, which to me, this is the sweet spot now that I try to hit every year, you get access to additional OneWorld lounges, those being the first class lounges. And even though the Sapphire tier really is good enough, the Emerald tier of OneWorld gets you into some of these exclusive lounges like the Cathay Pacific First Class Lounge at London Heathrow. Even if you're flying on American, but only in economy, you can still get access to this lounge. Plus you get first class priority check-in, fast track or priority security line access, preferred seat selection, and priority boarding. So even if you're flying on British Airways, you can select a preferred seat. And basically this gets you all of the British priority perks as well. But again, make sure you check out the oneworld.com website for more information. But even with all of that, it still really comes down to how much money you spend. Not just with the airline, but with these ecosystems that they all have now. Credit cards have really burst onto the scene in the last 10 years. Premium travel cards now have annual fees pushing $1,000. And the co-branded airline cards are really following in this path. A huge reason for this is the revenue that these cards generate. Now, you can dig deeper into this subject, but basically when you spend on a co-branded airline credit card, you earn a point or a mile or whatever the multiplier is for that card. And when this happens, the bank buys the miles from the airline. And this is compliments of the interchange fees charged to the business for that specific transaction. So for context, American Airlines made roughly $6.1 billion in 2024 from its co-branded credit cards, meaning people are spending a ton on these cards. But this is a two-way street. American adds a ton of value to Citi, and Citi back to American. You can even look back on the early 2000s when Amex basically bailed out Delta. Now look at the partnership between those two. This is the main revenue stream for airlines. And the crazy thing is, these co-branded cards typically don't even earn well, but it's brands people associate with, it's great marketing from the banks and the airlines, and it's also taking advantage of people who really don't even research what the cards are good for, the credits and such, and the annual fees. They just see American Airlines and Citi, and that it must be the card to get, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't get these cards, but make sure you're responsible with them and that you understand the perks and the benefits that they unlock. And with the American Airlines cards, I've actually held quite a few of them, and currently I hold 3. And this includes first the Barclays Aviator Red, which is a slam dunk card, and you can quickly earn American Airlines miles. Just make one transaction of any amount, pay the $99 annual fee, and depending on the welcome offer you receive, whether that's 50, 60, or 70,000 miles, those will be deposited into your account almost right away. Now, this card will be unavailable to new applicants as of September 30th of 2025, since Citi will be taking over as the exclusive issuer of American Airlines cards. But if you see this video before then and you could take advantage of that, it's such an easy bonus to get. Just do so before it's gone. Now, this one also gets you and up to 4 companions on the same reservation a free check bag, slightly better boarding, and a few other small perks, almost similar to those different levels of status with American. So if you don't have status, these cards typically do come with that free check bag benefit, and the higher up in the premium nature of these cards, the more free check bags you get. So next is the American Citi Business Card, another one that I added really just for the miles. It was 80,000 miles at the time, plus no annual fee the first year before turning to $99 per year thereafter. So right now the bonus on this card, 65,000 miles after spending $4K within 4 months, still a pretty good offer. You need to set up a business account, which is where these miles will be deposited. It literally takes 2 to 3 minutes to set up an account, and then you can move those miles from the business account over to your personal account with just a few clicks of a button. Just note that the bonus miles on any of these cards don't count towards status. The miles are only for redemption purposes, but 65,000 miles can cover a one-way to Europe in business class or round trip and economy. And there's a few other perks with this Citi Business Card as well. But the Citi Platinum Select is a card that I had before product changing, and that one right now has an elevated 80,000 bonus mile offer after spending only $3,500 in 4 months, plus no annual fee the first year, then $99 each year after. Plus, you earn a loyalty point for every dollar spent on this card, which is true for all of the AA co-branded cards. And I'm actually eligible for this card again, so I may try applying while this elevated offer is still available. Let me know if you do, and comment with your current American Airlines cards or which ones you're thinking about getting. And to round it out with my setup of American Airlines cards, I also have their top tier Citi Executive World Elite MasterCard. So yeah, right now I'm stacked with American Airlines cards. The current public offer on this one is only 70,000 bonus miles after spending $7K within 3 months, but there are targeted mailers for 75,000 miles after spending a little bit more, 7,500, in a longer period of time at 5 months. My wife actually received that targeted mailer last week, and with any of these, you're basically prepaying the annual fee plus hitting the minimum spend requirement to earn whatever the mileage is for that bonus. And honestly, I feel like that Platinum Select bonus right now at 80,000 miles is a much better deal, especially with a much smaller annual fee that is wiped out the first year. Those 80,000 miles I'd value at north of $1,600. Now, for context here, that would nearly cover a round trip ticket from, say, JFK to Heathrow or Charlotte to Frankfurt in premium economy, where the cash fare would be north of $3,000. So be on the lookout for that mailer, or definitely take advantage of that Platinum Select 80K offer. Now, on top of the welcome bonus, there's a few main draws with the executive card, primarily the worldwide Admirals Club Airport Lounge access, which includes over 50 locations, plus over 60 partner lounges around the globe. So if you don't have any of the OneWorld status tiers just yet, this card can cover a lot of ground for those international destinations where American Airlines flies. Now, for the access privileges, you can take in any immediate family, so your spouse and any kids under the age of 18, or up to 2 guests on the same reservation, complimentary. And this is a really nice perk, especially considering most competitors like the Amex Delta Reserve only allows 4 one-time guest passes each year. I've taken my wife and kids into an Admirals Club a few times this year, and it's not only been a solid experience with improved food options, but it was also a saving grace after we missed a connection, thanks to American for being delayed as always. But the lounge staff, they really stepped up, and they found some hidden flights for us, for all 4 of us to be able to sit together, which saved me from having to call into American Airlines or, God forbid, wait in one of those terrible customer service lines. American also operates 6 flagship lounges, but you must be flying flagship first or flagship business in order to gain access to these. Now, these are definitely a step up from the Admirals Clubs, with the sit-down dining options that include waiter service and more premium drink selections, nicer champagne, shower suites, and typically a lot less crowded. I've been to a few of these in Dallas, Miami, and the Chicago locations. These are nice, but I still think I'd prefer the Capital One Lounge, JFK, or Dallas over these. But on top of the Admirals Club access, you and up to 8 guests receive a free check bag, which to me, if you don't have status, this is such an underrated benefit of these airline cards. It's the primary reason that I have a credit card from Delta and Southwest as well, even if I only fly those a few times a year. Now, the Executive is definitely a much different card than any of the other American Airlines cards. It's definitely the premium tier card, and on top of the lounge access and perks, there's two 10,000 loyalty point bonuses. And this is once you hit the 50,000 and the 90,000 loyalty point marks. So if you're aiming for Platinum Pro status, over 15% of that can be covered just by having this card. As for the earning, you earned 4 miles per dollar on your paid American Airlines flights. So if you remember when I talked about the miles earned based on your different level of status, this is a way to truly stack up those American Airlines miles and loyalty points, as you also earn 1 loyalty point per dollar spent on the card. So at a base level, you'd be earning 9 miles per dollar spent on American Airlines marketed flights, or 13 miles per dollar if you have this card and Platinum Pro status. Now, there's also some elevated earning within American Airlines hotels and rental cars, which I'll go into detail on this in part 2 of the series. You also receive a TSA pre-check or a global entry credit, which is pretty much the standard for any premium tier card, and $360 in annual credits. First, a $120 annual credit to use on Avis or budget prepaid car rentals, and 2 credits that are monthly use it or lose it. First, $10 for Grubhub and $10 for Lyft, but this is after you've taken 3 eligible rides and paid for those rides with your Executive card. Now, with all these different credits and benefits, there's a lot of opportunities to point stack, which I'll cover in part 2 of this video. Now, I mentioned I'd review my account in full detail, which you can see the account overview here, the current balance, miles, and points earned. But there was just so much in this video, so much of the basic understanding of the loyalty program. So I'll break all this in more detail down in part 2. But if you'd like to see some of my other videos on how to hit and fast track your way to status, check those out here, and I'll see you there. Cheers.